cold seeps through my jeans, working its way up from the stone I've been sitting on for the past hour. My legs went numb somewhere around the 40-minute mark, but I can't bring myself to stand. Standing means making a decision. Sitting means I can keep pretending I drove out here at 4 a.m. just to think. The Columbia River Gorge stretches below me, darkness broken only by scattered lights from houses too far away to matter. Wind whips my hair across my face, strands catching in my mouth. I don't bother pushing them away. 3 weeks. 21 days since Tom's car went over a cliff 20 miles south of here. 21 days since the police knocked on my apartment door with faces that told me everything before they spoke a word. Loss of control, they said. Tragic accident. Liars. All of them. I found Tom's notes 2 days after the funeral, hidden in his gym bag. The one place I almost didn't check. Pages of names, dates, locations, testimony he'd planned to give against the Bratva, against Eric Volkov specifically. My baby brother witnessed something he shouldn't have, agreed to testify, and paid for it with a staged accident that fooled everyone except me. The edge calls. Just one step, maybe 2. Then the wind would do the rest, and the pain crushing my chest would finally stop. No more waking up, reaching for my phone to text Tom before remembering he'll never answer. No more eviction notices I can't pay. No more failed pitches to editors who've stopped returning my calls. No more anything. I shift forward. Gravel skitters over the edge, disappearing into darkness. My heart hammers, but my mind feels eerily calm. This is the same type of cliff that took Tom. Poetic, maybe. Or just pathetic. I can't tell anymore. Headlights sweep across the overlook behind me. I flinch, squinting against the sudden brightness. A black SUV rolls to a stop 30 feet back, engine cutting to silence. Who the hell comes to a hiking overlook at 4:30 in the morning besides someone like me? The driver's door opens. A man emerges, tall and broad-shouldered, moving with the kind of control that suggests he knows exactly how much space his body occupies in the world. He doesn't approach immediately, just stands there, one hand resting on the open door, watching me. Beautiful view, he says. His voice carries despite the wind, low and careful. Mind if I share it? Every muscle in my body locks. It's a public overlook. True. He closes the door softly. Not the slam I expected. Most people wait for sunrise before making the drive. Maybe I like the dark. He moves closer, but slowly, like approaching a spooked animal. Smart man. Or maybe you're here for the same reason I stopped. I turn to face him fully, anger flaring hot through the numbness. You don't know anything about why I'm here. The overlook's security light catches his features as he steps into range. Late 30s, maybe 36. Dark hair with threads of gray at the temples, though his face looks too young for it. Strong jaw shadowed with stubble. Eyes that look almost black in the dim light. Fixed on me with an intensity that makes my skin prickle. A thin scar cuts through his right eyebrow, pale against tanned skin. You're right, he says. I don't. But I know that look. What look? The one that says you're weighing options you can't take back. He stops 10 feet away, hands visible at his sides. Non-threatening. I've seen it before. Worn it myself once. Then you know this is none of your business. Probably not. He tilts his head slightly. But I'm making it my business anyway. Call it a character flaw. I laugh. The sound comes out harsh and broken. You always harass strangers at cliffsides? Only the ones standing too close to the edge. His gaze drops to my feet, inches from where solid ground becomes nothing but air. Do you have someone I can call? Family? Friend? The question hits like a physical blow. No. No one at all. Tom's dead. The words escape before I can stop them. Raw and jagged. 3 weeks ago, right here in the gorge. They said it was an accident, but it wasn't. He was going to testify against the Bratva, against Volkov, and they killed him for it. Staged the whole thing so perfectly that everyone believes it was just bad luck. Bad weather, bad timing. Just my little brother being careless. I'm breathing too fast. Words tumbling out in a rush I can't control. I spent 2 years scraping by to put him through community college. He was going to be an accountant. Boring. Safe. Exactly what I wanted for him after everything we'd been through. But he took a job with the wrong company, Saw the wrong thing, and now he's gone. And I've got nothing. No family, no money, no job that pays enough to matter. Just debt and an eviction notice, and the knowledge that the man who killed my brother is walking around free while everyone calls it an accident. Tears burn my eyes. I swipe at them angrily. So yeah, no one to call. You can leave now. Go back to whatever brought you out here and forget you saw me. He doesn't leave. Doesn't speak either. Just stands there, absorbing everything I've thrown at him. When he finally moves, it's to take one careful step forward. Volkov, he says quietly. You're sure it was him? I blink. What? Eric Volkov, head of the Russian operations in the Northwest. You're certain he's the one who had your brother killed? My pulse kicks. How do you know that name? His mouth twists into something that isn't quite a smile. Because he's been trying to kill me for the past 6 months. He extends his hand toward me, palm up. An offering, not a demand. My name is Gabriel Montero, and I think we should talk somewhere that isn't a cliff top at dawn. I stare at his hand, at the expensive watch on his wrist, at the tailored jacket that probably costs more than 3 months of my rent. Who are you? Someone who wants Volkov gone as badly as you do. His eyes hold mine, steady and unflinching. Someone who didn't know he'd eliminated a witness 3 weeks ago. Someone who can help you make sure your brother's death actually means something. I don't need help. Everyone needs help. His hand remains extended. And right now, you need it more than most. So I'm offering one conversation somewhere warm, with coffee and a door that locks. After that, if you want me to walk away, I will. Why would you do that? You don't know me. No. Something shifts in his expression, a shadow of old pain. But I know what it's like to lose someone to Volkov's violence. I know how it eats at you, how the grief turns into something darker. And I know that standing on this edge won't bring them back. It just means Volkov wins twice. The wind gusts hard, nearly pushing me forward. I wobble, arms pinwheeling. Gabriel moves fast, closing the distance between us in 2 long strides. His hand catches my wrist, grip firm but not painful, pulling me back from the edge. For a heartbeat, we stand frozen, his fingers circling my wrist, my pulse hammering against his thumb. Then my knees give out. Just completely quit. Like someone cut the strings holding me upright. He catches me, arms sliding around my waist, taking my weight as I crumple. I've got you. He murmurs. You're okay. I've got you. I'm not okay. Haven't been okay in 3 weeks, maybe longer. But his arms are solid, his voice steady. And for the first time since the police knocked on my door, I'm not alone with the weight of Tom's death. I bury my face against his shoulder and sob. Great ugly sounds I can't hold back. He doesn't tell me it'll be all right. Doesn't offer empty platitudes. Just holds me while I fall apart, one hand pressed between my shoulder blades, anchoring me to something besides my own spiral of grief and rage. When I finally run out of tears, I pull back. He releases me immediately, though his hand hovers near my elbow like he expects me to collapse again. Sorry, I manage. Don't be. He studies my face, cataloging the damage. When's the last time you ate something? I try to remember. Fail. Yesterday? Maybe. Sleep? What's that? His mouth quirks. Not quite a smile, but close. Come on. Let's get you somewhere safe before you pass out. I don't even know you. You know I hate Volkov. That's more common ground than most people start with. He gestures toward the SUV. I promise I'm not planning to murder you. Bad for business. And I've got enough problems without adding random acts of violence to the list. Business? I repeat. The expensive clothes, the way he moves, the casual mention of people trying to kill him. What kind of business? The kind that puts me at war with Russian mobsters. He meets my eyes directly. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a good man. But right now, I'm the only option you've got. So you can get in the car and let me buy you breakfast. Or you can stay here and freeze. Your choice. It isn't really a choice. Not when my apartment is 3 hours away, and I spent my last $20 on gas to get here. Not when exhaustion pulls at every bone in my body. Not when the alternative is going back to that edge and finishing what I started. I walk toward the SUV. Gabriel follows, opening the passenger door for me with old-fashioned courtesy that feels bizarre given everything else. The interior smells like leather and expensive cologne. Warm air blasts from the vents. He slides into the driver's seat, starts the engine, and pulls out of the overlook without asking where I live. Maybe he knows I have nowhere to go. Maybe he just doesn't care. We drive in silence for 10 minutes before I find my voice again. Tom had notes, dates, times, locations. He was documenting trafficking routes. Volkov's people were moving people through the port using legitimate shipping companies as cover. Tom worked as a warehouse supervisor. He saw things he wasn't supposed to see. Gabriel's hands tighten on the steering wheel. How much did he document? 3 months' worth. Names of the ships. Manifest that didn't match cargo. He was going to turn it all over to the FBI. My voice cracks. He told me 2 days before he died. Said he'd made a deal for witness protection. I begged him not to do it. Told him it was too dangerous. But he said someone had to stop them. And now he's dead. And Volkov thinks the threat died with him, probably. Gabriel is quiet for a moment, jaw working. Did Tom give you copies of his documentation? Hidden in my apartment. Why? Because if Volkov finds out you have them, you're dead too. He glances at me, those dark eyes unreadable. Where do you live? Portland. But I got evicted. I have until the end of the week to clear out. Then you're coming home with me. I should argue. Should demand he take me back to the city. But exhaustion crashes over me like a wave, dragging me under. My eyes drift closed despite my best efforts. What's your name? Gabriel asks softly. Lily. The word comes out slurred. Lily Harper. Lily. He says it carefully, like testing the weight of it. Stay awake a little longer. We're almost there. Where there is, I don't know. Don't particularly care. For the first time in 3 weeks, someone else is making the decisions. Someone else is carrying the weight. I can let go for just a moment and trust I won't completely shatter. The SUV turns off the main highway onto a private road, gate sliding open automatically. Through half-closed eyes, I glimpse high stone walls, security cameras, floodlights illuminating manicured grounds. Then the house appears. All modern lines and floor-to-ceiling windows, worth more money than I'll see in a lifetime. Come on, Gabriel says gently when we stop. Let's get you inside. I stumble out of the SUV, legs barely supporting me. He doesn't touch me, just walks beside me up wide steps to a door that opens before we reach it. A woman in her 60s stands there, silver hair pulled into a neat bun, eyes sharp as she takes in my appearance. Guest room, Rosa, Gabriel says. Food, water, and privacy. She's been through enough tonight. Rosa nods once, crisp and efficient. This way. I follow her through rooms that blur together, too exhausted to process any of it. A bedroom appears, larger than my entire apartment, decorated in soft grays and blues. Rosa points out the bathroom, the closet, the small refrigerator stocked with water. Mr. Montero says you should rest, she tells me. Everything else can wait. The door closes behind her. I stand alone in a stranger's house, in a room worth more than everything I owned combined, and feel nothing but overwhelming relief that I'm still breathing. I collapse onto the bed fully clothed and surrender to darkness. Sunlight burns through my eyelids, dragging me from sleep I hadn't expected to find. My body aches in unfamiliar ways, muscles stiff from finally relaxing after weeks of carrying tension like armor. For 3 blissful seconds, I don't remember where I am or why. Then it crashes back. Tom. The cliff. Gabriel Montero. I sit up too fast, head spinning. The room looks even more expensive in daylight. All clean lines and muted colors that probably have names like storm gray and morning mist. My jeans are twisted around my legs, shirt wrinkled beyond saving. I feel like I've been hit by a truck, then backed over for good measure. A soft knock precedes the door opening. The woman from last night appears, carrying a tray that smells like actual heaven. Rosa, Gabriel had called her. Good morning, Miss Harper, she says, setting the tray on the nightstand. Mr. Montero asked me to let you rest as long as you needed. I glance at the clock. 2:15 in the afternoon. I slept for almost 12 hours. Thank you. I should probably go. I've imposed enough. Rosa's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in her eyes. Pity, maybe, or understanding. Where would you go? The question hits harder than it should have. I have an apartment. For a few more days, anyway. Mr. Montero is in his office when you're ready to speak with him. She moves toward the door, pauses. The coffee is fresh, so is the bread. You should eat. She leaves before I can respond. I stare at the tray, stomach cramping with sudden hunger. Scrambled eggs. Toast that looks homemade. Fresh fruit I definitely can't afford on a good day. Coffee in an actual ceramic mug. Not the chip disaster I use at home. I eat mechanically, tasting nothing but needing the fuel. My hands shake around the mug. Caffeine or fear or exhaustion. Impossible to tell. When the tray is empty, I stand on legs that feel more solid than they have in weeks and go looking for answers. The house is massive. Room after room of understated wealth that screams old money, even though I know Gabriel's fortune comes from significantly less legal sources. I find him in what has to be his office, surrounded by dark wood and leather furniture that matches his aesthetic perfectly. He looks up when I appear in the doorway, still wearing the same clothes from last night, though he's shed the jacket. White shirt rolled to his elbows. Dark slacks. Watch that probably costs more than my entire education. Those deep brown eyes track my movements with the same intensity I remember from the cliff. Lily. Not a question. Just acknowledgement. How are you feeling? Like I made a series of spectacularly bad decisions. I stay in the doorway, one hand on the frame, anchoring myself. Thank you for the room and the food. But I should get back to Portland. To do what? He leans back in his chair, fingers steepled. Pack up an apartment you can't afford? Return to a job that isn't covering your bills? Heat rushes to my face. You don't know anything about my situation. I know you were standing on a cliff at dawn, contemplating whether to step off. His voice is gentle, which somehow makes it worse. I know your brother was murdered 3 weeks ago, and the police called it an accident. I know you have nowhere to go and no one to call. Am I wrong? My throat tightens. What do you want from me? I want to make you an offer. He gestures to the chair across from his desk. Sit, please. I should walk out. Should call a cab. Hitchhike back to the city. Anything but accept help from a man who admitted to being at war with Russian mobsters. Instead, I cross the room and sink into leather that probably costs more than my monthly rent. Gabriel watches me settle before speaking. You said Tom had documentation. Evidence of Volkov's trafficking operation. Do you still have it? Hidden in my apartment. Why? Because if those documents are as detailed as you described, they're valuable. Not just to the FBI, but to me. He leans forward, elbows on the desk. I've been trying to dismantle Volkov's network for 6 months. He's been encroaching on territory I control, using methods I don't tolerate. Trafficking, specifically. So this is business for you. Partially. Something shifts in his expression. It's also personal. Volkov killed my sister 3 years ago. Emma. She was 23, fresh out of college, working as a social worker helping trafficking victims. She got too close to his operation, asked too many questions. They made it look like a carjacking gone wrong. The pain in his voice is raw, unguarded. I recognize it because I carry the same weight. I'm sorry. So am I. He straightens, control sliding back into place. Here's what I'm proposing. You stay here temporarily. We work together to build a case against Volkov using Tom's documentation and my resources. You have access to investigative tools I can provide. Contacts that won't talk to police. In exchange, you have a roof over your head while you process everything you've lost. That's not how this works. I'm a journalist, not some damsel you rescued. I'm not suggesting you're helpless. His mouth curves slightly. Not quite a smile. I'm suggesting you have value beyond needing rescue. You're an investigative journalist with knowledge of a case that affects both of us. You can access sources I can't. Ask questions that won't raise the same red flags. This isn't charity, Lily. It's strategy. I want to argue. Want to throw his offer back in his face and storm out with whatever dignity I have left. But he's right about one thing. I have nowhere else to go. And the idea of crawling back to my empty apartment to pack Tom's things makes my chest constrict. How long? I ask. As long as it takes to make sure Volkov pays for what he's done. And after that? After that, you leave if you want. No strings, no obligations. He holds my gaze. I'm offering you purpose, Lily. A way to channel everything you're feeling into something productive. You can sit in that apartment drowning in grief, or you can help me make sure Tom's death actually means something. My hands clench in my lap. This is insane. Probably. Gabriel stands, moving to a cabinet against the wall. He pulls out a thick folder, sets it on the desk between us. These are the files I've compiled on Volkov. Shipping routes, known associates, properties we've identified. It's incomplete because he's careful, but combined with what Tom documented, we might have enough to actually hurt him. I stare at the folder. All I have to do is reach out and take it. Cross a line I can't uncross. I need to think, I say. Take all the time you need. Gabriel returns to his chair. Rosa will show you around. Get you anything you require. The house is yours to explore. I stand, legs steadier now. I'm not staying long term, just until I figure things out. Of course. That almost smile again. Whatever you need to tell yourself. The next 3 days blur together in a haze of observation and careful distance. The house is enormous. Room after room of space I don't know what to do with. Rosa appears at regular intervals with food I don't ask for but eat anyway. My body slowly remembers what it feels like to be cared for, even peripherally. Gabriel gives me space, which I appreciate more than I can articulate. But I see him. Watch him move through his days with the precision of someone who built an empire on control and calculation. Men come and go. Dark suits and careful words. Meetings behind closed doors. Phone calls in languages I don't speak. On the 3rd day, I meet Nathaniel. He finds me in what passes for a library, surrounded by books I'm not reading. Just existing in a space that feels separate from everything else. Miss Harper. His voice carries authority, tempered with something careful. He's maybe 42, built solid, with gray threading through dark hair. I'm Nathaniel Cross, head of security for Mr. Montero. I set down the book I'd been pretending to read. Head of security. That's one way to describe it. His mouth twitches. Mr. Montero mentioned you prefer direct conversation. I prefer not being lied to. Then I'll be honest. Nathaniel moves further into the room, hands visible at his sides. Non-threatening, despite everything about him suggesting capability for significant violence. You're an outsider in a world that doesn't tolerate outsiders. That makes you a liability. But the boss says you stay, so you stay. My job is to make sure you don't become a problem. Comforting. Not meant to be comforting. Meant to be clear. He studies me with eyes that have seen things I can't imagine. I've worked for Gabriel Montero for 15 years. Saved his life twice. He saved mine 3 times. That's the kind of loyalty this world runs on. You don't have that history. You don't have that trust. So while you're here, you follow the rules. Don't leave the property without authorization. Don't make calls we haven't cleared. Don't ask questions about operations that don't concern you. His expression doesn't change. And don't make the boss regret pulling you off that cliff. Heat flares in my chest. He told you about that? He tells me everything that affects security. Nathaniel's voice gentles slightly. He also told me about your brother. I'm sorry for your loss. Volkov is a bastard who deserves everything coming to him. If you can help make that happen, you're welcome here. Just don't forget where you are, or who we are. He leaves before I can respond. I sit in the silence, processing. This is Gabriel's world. Men like Nathaniel. Loyalty bought in blood. Rules I don't understand. And I agreed to stay in the middle of it because the alternative was going back to an apartment full of Tom's ghost. That night, I can't sleep. Nightmares keep jerking me awake. Images of Tom's car going over the cliff. Of him calling my name while I stand frozen. By 2 a.m, I give up and wander downstairs, looking for water or distraction or anything to quiet my mind. I find Gabriel in the kitchen, sitting at the island with a mug of something hot. He looks up when I appear, taking in my rumpled appearance without comment. Couldn't sleep? He asks. I move to the sink, fill a glass. My hands tremble enough that water sloshes over the rim. Gabriel stands, crosses to the stove. Sit. I'll make tea. You don't have to. I know. He pulls down a second mug. But I'm already awake. And you look like you're about to shatter. Humor me. I sink onto a stool, watching him move through the space with easy familiarity. He sets the mug in front of me minutes later, steam curling between us. Nightmares about Tom? He asks, taking the seat beside mine. How did you know? Because I still have nightmares about Emma. He wraps both hands around his mug. 3 years. And I still wake up reaching for my phone to call her before I remember she won't answer. The shared pain creates a bridge between us. Fragile, but real. Does it get easier? No. His honesty cuts clean. But you learn to carry it differently. Learn to function around the weight instead of being crushed by it. We sit in comfortable silence, drinking tea while the house settles around us. For the first time since Tom died, I'm not alone with the grief. Someone else understands the specific shape of this loss. Thank you, I say eventually. For this. For all of it. Gabriel's eyes meet mine, something warm flickering in their depths. You're welcome, Lily. Now finish your tea and try to get some rest. Tomorrow, if you're ready, I'll show you what we're really up against. I nod, throat tight with emotions I can't name. When I finally return to bed, sleep comes easier than it has in weeks. Work becomes my anchor. For the next 2 weeks, I bury myself in Tom's documentation, cross-referencing dates and locations with the files Gabriel provided. The world narrows to spreadsheets and shipping manifests, patterns emerging from chaos like constellations appearing in a dark sky. 4 witnesses. 3 months. All dead. Tom was the 4th. His car sent over a cliff on Highway 26. Before him came Sarah Chen. Overdose that looked accidental until I matched the timeline to her scheduled testimony. Marcus Webb. House fire attributed to faulty wiring 2 days after he spoke to the FBI. Jennifer Kozlowski. Mugging gone wrong in a parking garage she'd used safely for 3 years. Volkov's signature is all over it. Invisible to anyone not looking for the pattern. But once I see it, I can't unsee it. The precision. The timing. The way each death removed a witness, without raising enough suspicion to warrant deeper investigation. I sit at Gabriel's dining table, surrounded by documents, highlighter in hand. When he appears with coffee, I hadn't asked for but desperately need, steam curls between us as he sets the mug at my elbow. You've been at this for 6 hours, he says. I glance at the window, surprised to find darkness outside. I didn't notice. That's a pattern. He pulls out the chair beside mine, close enough that I can smell cedar and something warmer. You work yourself to exhaustion. Skip meals. Forget the world exists. Rosa complained twice about untouched food. I'm fine. You're obsessed. No judgment in his voice, just observation. I recognize it because I've been there. After Emma died, I spent 8 months doing exactly what you're doing now. Chasing every lead. Building cases that went nowhere. Forgetting to sleep, or eat, or breathe. My hands still on the papers. Did it help? Eventually. He leans back, dark eyes tracking my face. But not until I learned to pace myself. Revenge is a marathon, not a sprint. You burn out. You become useless. I'm not useless. I didn't say you were. Something shifts in his expression. I said you will be if you don't take care of yourself. And I need you functional, Lily. These connections you're making, they're valuable. But not if you collapse from exhaustion. Heat creeps up my neck. Fine. I'll eat. Good. He stands, moves toward the kitchen. Rosa left lasagna. I'll heat it up. I watch him go, processing the casual domesticity of a man at war with Russian mobsters warming food for the journalist living in his house. Nothing about this situation makes sense. Yet here I am, accepting it as normal. The lasagna is incredible. I eat while Gabriel works on his laptop across from me. Comfortable silence settles between us. Our fingers brush when we both reach for the same document. Electricity jumps at the contact. He pulls back first, clearing his throat. I found something, I say, pushing the paper toward him. Dmitry Sokolov. He's in Volkov's financial records, controller for West Coast operations. Been with the organization 8 years, And look at this. I tap another sheet. He keeps meticulous records. Wire transfers that coincide exactly with Tom's documented shipments. Same dates, same amounts. Gabriel studies the documents, jaw tightening. I know that name. Nathaniel ran background on him last year. Family man, 2 daughters, wife with medical issues. He's been documenting everything this thoroughly because he's either covering himself or preparing an exit strategy. Or both. I lean forward. If I approached him as a journalist offering anonymity and protection through publication, he might talk. You're a rival organization. He'd never trust you. But me? I'm investigating Volkov for a story. I can offer him something you can't. A way out that doesn't involve switching one criminal for another. Gabriel's expression hardens. No. Too dangerous. It's the perfect approach. Strategy that puts you directly in Volkov's crosshairs. I'm already there. I hold his gaze. Tom's documentation made sure of that. At least this way I'm actively fighting back instead of waiting for them to come for me. The next 4 days are preparation. Nathaniel trains me in security protocols with the same intensity he'd use for one of Gabriel's men. Communication encryption, dead drops, emergency extraction signals, how to read a room for threats, how to disappear if things go wrong. Gabriel watches every session, tension visible in the set of his shoulders. He doesn't want me doing this, but he knows I'm right. On day 5, I send the encrypted email to Dmitry Sokolov, identifying myself as an investigative journalist with sources inside Volkov's operation, offering protection via exposure. If anything happens to him after talking to me, it becomes obvious. Too obvious for even Volkov to risk. 2 days pass with no response. Tension builds like a physical weight. I check the secure server every hour. Nothing. Gabriel grows increasingly quiet, spending more time coordinating contingencies with Nathaniel, planning what happens if Volkov traced my message, if he's already moving against us. Day 7. The response finally comes at 3 a.m. I'm awake, unable to sleep, checking the server one more time before trying to rest. The message appears, brief, cautious. He wants guarantees, has family to protect. I respond immediately, adrenaline flooding my system. I offer physical protection coordinated by my security consultants, relocation if necessary, plus the expose that makes retribution too risky. We negotiate via encrypted messages over the next 3 days. Dmitry reveals that Volkov doesn't let anyone leave alive. He's seen 3 people disappear for trying, but he's kept 8 years of financial records on encrypted drives. Everything. Wire transfers, routes, manifests, names, dates. The proof we need. Gabriel and I work side by side 14 hours daily, preparing for what comes next, coordinating with his network, building frameworks for Dmitry's family relocation. The proximity does something to us, changes the dynamic. We're not just allies anymore. Somewhere in the late nights and shared purpose, something deeper takes root. I notice the way he looks at me when he thinks I'm not watching. Feel the heat when our hands touch over documents. The concern in his voice when he tells me to rest. Night 12. Dmitry agrees preliminarily. Gabriel opens a bottle of wine. Small celebration for a small victory. We sit in his office, exhaustion and relief mixing into something headier. The conversation shifts, becomes personal. I tell him about raising Tom after our parents died. Me at 19, him at 16. The sacrifices, the fear, how I failed to protect him when it mattered most. Gabriel talks about Emma, about their father's violence, about building an empire to keep her safe and failing anyway. The pain we've carried alone suddenly shared. Understood. The kiss happens without planning. One moment we're talking. The next his hand is in my hair, and his mouth is on mine. And 3 weeks of grief and fear and desperate need pour into it. We barely make it to his bedroom. Clothes discarded in a trail. Hands learning new territory with urgent exploration. It's intense. Physical and emotional simultaneously. Afterwards, we lie tangled together. Hearts still racing. Neither of us speaks for a long moment. I can't lose someone else. Gabriel finally says, voice rough. Not again. Then don't. I turn to face him. We do this together. We're careful. We're smart. And we make Volkov pay. You're not what I expected to find on that cliff. Neither are you. He pulls me closer, and for the first time in weeks, I feel something besides grief and rage. I feel hope. The next morning brings Dimitri's final agreement. 8 years of documentation in exchange for his family's safety. Gabriel coordinates relocation to Montana. I draft the exposé framework, and Dimitri drops the critical information. Volkov has a major operation in 16 days. A container ship arriving at the port of Portland at 3 a.m. 35 people being trafficked. April 14th. The timeline shifts into sharp focus. 16 days to build an airtight case. To coordinate with authorities without getting Dimitri killed. To ensure Volkov can't slip away again. Gabriel's team moves into high gear. I write 14 hours daily. Our relationship solidifies through crisis. Not just physical anymore. Partnership in every sense. Nathaniel gives his approval in a brief conversation. Says I'm good for Gabriel. That the boss seems more human since I arrived. Rosa smiles knowingly when she finds us having breakfast together. But underneath the growing connection, the countdown ticks. 16 days. Then 15. Then 14. Volkov's operation looms. The moment everything we've built either succeeds or crumbles. Gabriel holds me at night, and I feel the tension in his body, the fear he won't voice, that he'll lose someone else he cares about. I kiss him and promise we'll survive this. Together, because the alternative is unthinkable. We've come too far, lost too much. Tom died for this information. Emma died investigating these crimes. We can't let their deaths be meaningless. So we work, we plan, we prepare, and we hope that when the moment comes, we'll be ready for whatever Volkov throws at us. 12 days until Volkov's operation. The number burns in my mind as I stare at my laptop screen, eyes blurring after 16 hours of writing. April 2nd. The exposé is taking shape. 6,000 words documenting 8 years of trafficking. Roots, finances, victims. Everything Tom died trying to expose. Everything Emma was killed for investigating. Dimitri's records arrived in encrypted segments over the past week. Wire transfers matching Tom's shipping manifests with perfect precision. Proof of 400 people moved through the port. Sold. Disappeared. The scope of it makes me physically ill. Gabriel works across the office, coordinating multiple operations simultaneously. Phone calls with lawyers who'll serve as intermediaries to the FBI. We can't risk direct contact from him. Too incriminating. But I can. My source at the Bureau, Agent Sarah Mitchell, agreed to examine the evidence. She worked with me on a corruption case 2 years ago. Trust my vetting process. If the documentation holds up, she'll move forward with warrants. Gabriel also leaks strategic information to Volkov's rivals, a Mexican cartel that despises him, creating pressure from multiple directions. Our relationship has shifted into something I can't fully name. We move through the house like we've done this for years instead of weeks. Morning coffee together. Working side by side until exhaustion forces rest. Falling into bed wrapped around each other. Seeking comfort and touch when words fail. He makes me remember I'm alive. That there's something worth fighting for besides revenge. I think I do the same for him. You need to eat, Gabriel says, appearing beside me with a plate. Sandwich, fruit, water, the basics I keep forgetting. In a minute, I'm almost done with this section. His hand covers mine on the keyboard, stopping my typing. Now, Lily, you've been at this since 6 this morning. It's nearly midnight. I saved the document, except the plate. Dimitri's family got moved today. Nathaniel confirmed 2 hours ago. Missoula, Montana. House under a shell corporation, new identities. His wife and daughters are safe. He sinks into the chair beside mine. Dimitri stays in Portland maintaining appearances until we're ready to move. The FBI? Mitchell is reviewing the first batch of documents. She said if everything checks out, they'll coordinate with us on timing. Gabriel's jaw tightens. We need to be careful. One wrong move and Volkov disappears. Or comes at us harder than before. As if summoning disaster by speaking it, my phone buzzes. A notification from the mail service I'd kept from my old apartment. Package delivered. I frown, checking the tracking. Sender unknown. Addressed to my old P.O. box that I'd forgotten to close. What is it? Gabriel asks, reading my expression. Package to my old box. I don't know who'd send me anything there. His face goes cold. Nathaniel. Now. Within minutes, Nathaniel has the package retrieved and brought to the house. We stand in Gabriel's office while he carefully opens it using gloved hands. Inside is an envelope. No return address. Just my name in letters cut from magazines. Old school. Untraceable. Nathaniel opens it with a knife. Inside, a single message. Same cut-out letters. A jornalista acha que está segura. Ela cairá do mesmo penhasco que queria pular. The journalist thinks she's safe. She'll fall from the same cliff she wanted to jump from. My blood goes ice cold. Gabriel's hand clenches into a fist, crushing the envelope. He knows. Volkov knows about you. Connected you to me. How? But even as I ask, I know. Someone saw me at the cliff. Someone reported it. Or Volkov's been watching Gabriel's house. Or any of a dozen ways I've been exposed. Nathaniel's already on his phone, barking orders. Full perimeter lockdown. Double rotations. I want eyes on every approach. Gabriel turns to me, and the fear in his expression steals my breath. You need to leave. I'll arrange protection out of state. Somewhere he can't find you. Montana with Dimitri's family. Or further. I have contacts in... No. The word comes out sharp, final. I'm not running. Lily. He just threatened your life. He threatened Tom's life too. And Emma's. And everyone who's tried to stop him. That's what he does. He uses fear as a weapon. I step closer, gripping Gabriel's arms. If I run now, everything we've built falls apart. The expose, the coordination with the FBI, Dimitri's testimony. All of it requires me to see this through. Not if you're dead. Then make sure I'm not. I hold his gaze. You have Nathaniel. You have security measures I didn't even know existed. Use them. Protect me here where you have control. Sending me away just gives Volkov a moving target. Gabriel looks at Nathaniel. Can we guarantee her safety? Nothing's guaranteed, boss. But she's right. Better to lock down here than expose her during transport. Nathaniel's expression is grim. I'll put her on the same protocol we use for you during high-threat periods. The next 4 days blur into controlled paranoia. I'm essentially confined to the house. Guards rotate every 6 hours. Cameras cover every angle. I can't go near windows without someone repositioning me. It's suffocating, but I keep working. The article grows. I coordinate with Mitchell via encrypted channels. She confirms the documentation is solid. Warrants are being prepared. 57 separate charges across 3 states. If we execute correctly, Volkov's entire network collapses. Gabriel barely leaves my side. When he has to coordinate operations, Nathaniel stays with me. I watch Gabriel transform into someone harder, colder, the version of him that built an empire through calculated violence. He's planning something. I can see it in the way he talks to his people. The coded conversations. The weapons being moved through the house. Preparation for war. Night falls on April 9th. 5 days until Volkov's trafficking operation. 4 days until my article publishes. I programmed it for automatic release at 6 a.m. on April 10th. Insurance. If something happens to me, the truth still comes out. Gabriel finds me on the bedroom balcony. Small space, covered by overhanging roof. Nathaniel approved it as safe. I'm watching stars appear, trying to remember what normal life felt like. Hey, Gabriel says softly, wrapping his arms around me from behind. You okay? I'm terrified. The admission comes easier than it should, but I'm also more certain than I've ever been. This is what Tom died for. What Emma was trying to stop. We're so close. After this is over, Gabriel says against my hair. After Volkov's finished, I'm done. With all of it. I turn in his arms. Done? The criminal operations. The territories. All of it. His eyes hold mine. I started transitioning after Emma died. Selling off the illegal ventures. Building legitimate businesses. Import. Construction. But the war with Volkov kept pulling me back. Once he's gone, I finish what I started. Go completely clean. Because of me? Because of you? Because of Emma? Because I'm tired of losing people I love to this life. He cups my face. I want a future, Lily. A real one. Not just survival between crises. And I want it with you. If you'll have me. I love you. The words feel simultaneously too big and not big enough. Whatever comes next, I want to face it together. I love you too. He kisses me. Gentle at first, then deeper. Desperate, like he's trying to memorize the taste of me. We move inside. Make love slowly, reverently. Every touch a promise. Every kiss a prayer that we survive what's coming. We fall asleep tangled together. My head on his chest, his heartbeat steady under my ear. For a few hours, I let myself believe everything will be okay. That we'll win. That Tom and Emma's deaths will finally mean something. That Gabriel and I get our future. But deep in my bones, I know the hardest part is still ahead. Volkov won't go quietly. Men like him never do. So I hold Gabriel tighter and try to memorize this moment. This peace. Because morning brings the countdown's final phase. And once we trigger this avalanche, there's no stopping it. 3:27 a.m. The alarm shriek tears me from sleep. Gabriel is up instantly, already moving. Stay here, he commands, grabbing his phone. But Nathaniel bursts through the door before Gabriel can say anything else. His face is set. Grim. Boss. We've got simultaneous breaches. 4 points. At least 25 hostiles. Military-grade equipment. This is it. Gabriel's eyes meet mine across the room. Everything unspoken passes between us in that look. This is what we feared. Volkov's final move. Get her to the safe room, now. Nathaniel grabs my arm, already pulling me toward the door. Move, Miss Harper. Gabriel! I reach for him. He crosses to me in 2 strides, kisses me hard and fast. I love you. Stay alive. You too. Come back to me. I will. Then Nathaniel is dragging me through corridors. Behind us, I hear Gabriel shouting orders. Men responding. The metallic sound of weapons being loaded. We reach the safe room. Reinforced steel door. Nathaniel shoves me inside. Banks of monitors line one wall showing camera feeds. I watch Gabriel coordinate defense. Watch men take positions. Watch the perimeter light up with muzzle flashes as the attack begins. The door seals behind us. Bulletproof. Blast-resistant. A cage keeping me safe while the man I love fights for both our lives. Nathaniel stands beside me, weapon drawn, watching the feeds with tactical assessment. He'll be okay. I whisper, more prayer than certainty. He'd better be, Nathaniel says. Because if something happens to him, Volkov won't live long enough to celebrate. On screen, the battle intensifies. And I can do nothing but watch and pray we all survive the night. The monitors show hell unfolding in real time. Gabriel's men hold defensive positions while attackers advance from multiple angles with coordinated precision. Military training. Professional killers. This isn't random violence. It's execution. Nathaniel's jaw clenches as he watches, hand on his radio, calling tactical adjustments to the teams outside. 3:29 a.m. 2 minutes since the attack began. Feels like hours. East perimeter holding. A voice crackles through Nathaniel's radio. 2 hostiles down. North breach. They're pushing hard. Another voice. Strained. Need backup. Redirecting Team 3 to north. Nathaniel responds. His free hand never leaves his weapon. Eyes never leave the screens. I watch Gabriel move through the chaos with brutal efficiency. He's not just directing. He's fighting. Taking down attackers with precision that speaks to years of violence I've only glimpsed. A man goes down on screen. One of Gabriel's guards. Tony, I think his name was. 28 years old. Has a girlfriend. Had a girlfriend. The correction hits like a punch. They're trying to breach the east wall, Nathaniel says into the radio. Reinforce now. Gunfire erupts on multiple feeds simultaneously. Muzzle flashes like deadly fireflies. I count attackers. Lose count. Too many. Gabriel's team is outnumbered but better positioned. Home advantage. They know every angle, every approach. The attackers are skilled but exposed. The fight grinds on. Minutes becoming hours, becoming an eternity compressed into seconds on screens. Then explosion. Not metaphorical. Actual explosion that rocks the safe room even through reinforced walls. The lights flicker. Nathaniel swears viciously. On the monitors, smoke pours from somewhere below us. The south wall of the safe room. They knew where we were, Nathaniel says, weapon raising. Planned charge. They're coming through. My heart stops. How is that possible? Doesn't matter now. He positions himself between me and the damaged wall. Stay behind me. Don't move unless I tell you to. The wall section collapses inward. Dust and smoke billow through the opening. 3 figures appear, weapons raised. Nathaniel fires twice. 2 men drop instantly. The third fires back. Nathaniel dodges, returns fire. The man falls, but more movement in the smoke. Another attacker emerging. Nathaniel engages. They exchange shots. I see Nathaniel flinch, see red bloom across his abdomen. He stumbles but doesn't fall. Fires again. The attacker goes down. Nathaniel... I'm moving before thinking, catching him as his legs give out. I'm good, he grits out. Lying. Blood spreads fast across his shirt. Weapon. Floor. Get it. I grab the fallen attacker's gun. Hands shaking so badly I almost drop it. I've never fired a weapon in my life. The weight feels wrong. Foreign. Nathaniel slumps against the wall, pressing his hand to the wound. Blood seeps between his fingers. Behind you. He gasps. I spin. Another man climbing through the breach. He sees Nathaniel down, raises his weapon toward Nathaniel's unprotected back. Something in me breaks, or clicks into place. I raise the gun, pull the trigger. The recoil jars my arms. Miss. Fire again, and again. The second shot hits his shoulder, the third his chest. He drops. I stare at the body, at what I just did. Bile rises in my throat. I took a life, ended someone's existence. The gun falls from my hands as I bend over, vomiting. Good girl, Nathaniel says weakly. You did good. Now pressure on my wound. Hard as you can. I force myself to move. Press both hands to his abdomen. Blood soaks hot through my fingers. Too much blood. You're going to be okay. Help is coming. Maybe. His face is gray. Boss taught me not to lie to myself. Don't talk like that. Sounds from outside change. The gunfire decreasing. Shouts. Movement. Then Gabriel's voice cutting through everything. Nathaniel! Lily! Here! I scream. We're here! Gabriel appears through the breach, weapon drawn, covered in dust and blood. His eyes find me first. Then Nathaniel. His expression fractures. No. He's across the room in seconds, dropping beside Nathaniel. Nate. Hey, stay with me. Always dramatic, boss. Nathaniel's smile is strained. Just a scratch. Shut up. Medics are coming. But Gabriel's hands join mine on the wound, and I feel them trembling. You don't get to die. That's an order. 15 years, Nathaniel says, voice fading. Good years. You saved me when I had nothing. Got me off the streets. Gave me purpose. His hand finds Gabriel's. Dying protecting you. Not a bad way to go. You're not dying. We both know better. Nathaniel's eyes shift to me. He lifts his other hand weakly. I take it. You're good for him. Brought him back from the edge. Take care of him. You'll be here to do it yourself, I say through tears. Tell Clara I loved every day with her. The girls. Tell them their dad died doing something right. His breathing rattles. Shallow. Finishing what Emma started. That means something. 2 men in tactical gear burst in. Medics. They take over immediately, working with urgent efficiency. But I see it in their faces. The wound is too severe. Femoral artery. Too much blood lost. Nathaniel's eyes drift closed. The lead medic checks for pulse. Works for 30 seconds. 1 minute. 2. Then stops. Looks at Gabriel, shakes his head. Gabriel makes a sound I've never heard from him. grief and rage compressed into something primal. He gathers Nathaniel's body against his chest, holding him like he can will life back through proximity. I wrap my arms around Gabriel from behind. We stay that way, surrounded by death and smoke, and the ruins of our safe room. Nathaniel Cross died at 4:03 a.m. protecting the people he loved. And something breaks in Gabriel that I don't know if either of us can fix. Eventually, Gabriel lowers Nathaniel gently to the floor, closes his eyes with shaking hands. When he stands, his face is stone. Casualties: 6 of ours including Cross. One of his men reports. 14 hostiles down. 3 escaped wounded. 6 dead. 6 families destroyed. Nathaniel's wife Clara, his daughters. They'll wake up this morning and find out their husband and father isn't coming home. Because of this war. Because of Volkov. Because of choices made years ago that led to this moment. Secure the perimeter, Gabriel says. Voice empty. Get the wounded to medical. Contact families of the fallen. Full compensation packages. College funds for any children. Boss, do it. The men move out. Gabriel turns to me, really sees me for the first time, takes in the blood covering my hands and clothes, the gun on the floor, the body of the man I killed. You're hurt? Not my blood. The words come out flat. Shock settling in. I killed him. That man. I shot him. Gabriel pulls me against his chest. I start shaking. Can't stop. The adrenaline draining out leaves nothing but horror. I took a life. Watched Nathaniel die. Survived when 6 others didn't. Gabriel holds me through it. Silent. His own grief a palpable weight between us. 6 a.m. I finally say against his chest. The article publishes at 6. He checks his watch. 2 hours. We need to clean up. Prepare for what comes next. What comes next is dawn breaking over carnage. My exposé goes live at precisely 6 a.m. across every major news platform. Within 30 minutes, it's trending nationally. The documentation is irrefutable. 8 years of trafficking, 400 victims, names, dates, locations, wire transfers, everything. At 7:15, the FBI executes 23 simultaneous raids across 3 states. 17 people arrested, including 4 of Volkov's lieutenants. His Mexican cartel contacts sever ties immediately. He's exposed, isolated. The trafficking operation scheduled for today is canceled. 35 people who would have been sold are inadvertently saved. Tom's death means something. Emma's investigation wasn't in vain. Nathaniel's sacrifice stopped a monster. But sitting in Gabriel's blood-stained office at 9 a.m., none of that feels like victory. It feels like survival, pyrrhic and hollow. Rosa brings food we don't eat, water we barely touch. Gabriel stares at his phone, at the message he needs to send to Clara Cross, at the impossible task of explaining why her husband died defending people she's never met. I want to help, want to find words that make this bearable, but there are none. So I sit beside him, hand in his, sharing the weight, because that's all we can do now. Carry what's left, honor what's lost, and hope that somehow, on the other side of this grief, we find a way to keep living. I need to call her, Gabriel finally says. Clara deserves to hear it from me. Do you want me to leave? No. His fingers tighten around mine. Stay, please. So I stay. Hold his free hand while he makes the worst phone call of his life. Listen to him break the news. Hear Clara's scream through the speaker. Watch Gabriel promise to take care of her and the girls. Financial security, college funds, whatever they need. It doesn't bring Nathaniel back, doesn't ease the pain, but it's what he can offer. The only thing left to give. When he ends the call, Gabriel sits in silence for a long time. Then he stands, pulls me up with him, wraps me in his arms. Funeral's in 3 days, he says against my hair. I need to face his family. Explain why their husband and father died protecting me. We'll face it together, I promise. All of it. Together. He nods. And in the ruins of everything we've lost, we hold on to each other. The only solid thing left in a world that's been torn apart. Outside, the sun rises on a day we survived, but others didn't. And somehow we have to figure out how to live with that. April 13th. Nathaniel's funeral. Military honors for a veteran who served his country and died protecting the man who saved him 15 years ago. Over 200 people crowd the cemetery. Gabriel's entire organization, Nathaniel's extended family, friends from his life before and after Gabriel. The sky is gray. Fitting. Clara Cross stands between her daughters, Amanda 17 and Sophie 14, all three wearing black and carrying grief that will never fully heal. Gabriel delivers the eulogy. His voice breaks twice. I watch from the front row as the man everyone fears struggles to articulate what Nathaniel meant. Brother, protector, friend. The words feel insufficient. Everything feels insufficient. When Gabriel finishes, Clara approaches me. I brace for anger. Blame. I'm the reason her husband died, after all. But she takes my hands in hers, looks me in the eyes with something like understanding. Nate called me that night, she says quietly, hours before. Said you brought light back to Gabriel, that he hadn't seen the boss smile genuinely in years, that you were worth protecting. Her voice cracks. He chose this, understood the risks. Don't carry guilt that isn't yours. I can't speak past the lump in my throat. Just nod. Clara pulls me into a brief embrace before returning to her daughters. Gabriel appears at my side, watching her go. Later, in a private moment, he gives Clara an envelope. $500,000, and a letter promising to support Amanda and Sophie through college. To be there for anything they need. It won't bring Nathaniel back, but it's what Gabriel can offer. The only tangible thing left to give. Clara accepts with quiet dignity. Then Gabriel does something I've never seen. He cries. Not hidden, not controlled, just honest grief in front of witnesses. And I realize that's his strength, not the violence, not the control, but this, allowing himself to feel, to break, to be human in a world that demands otherwise. The days after blur into therapy sessions and legal proceedings. Eric Volkov is arrested April 16th at Seattle-Tacoma International, trying to board a flight to Russia under a false name. The documentation from Dimitri and Tom, combined with testimony from 8 rescued victims, builds an ironclad federal case. Prosecutors estimate 40 years minimum, probably life. The trafficking network collapses. Subordinates arrested. Operations dismantled. It's over. We won. But the victory tastes like ashes. I can't stay in the mansion. Too many memories of violence, of Nathaniel dying in my arms, of the man I killed. So I moved to a small apartment, $850 monthly rent in a safe neighborhood. Gabriel pays 6 months up front despite my protests. Says it's practical. I need space to heal. He's not wrong. I start therapy twice weekly. PTSD from watching people die, from taking a life. The nightmares are relentless. I wake screaming most nights, alone in the dark, processing trauma too big to carry. Gabriel starts therapy too. First time in 15 years. Nathaniel's death broke something in him that needed breaking. Shattered the walls he'd built. Now he's rebuilding differently. We see each other regularly. Dinner at my apartment, walks in parks, coffee in the mornings. The relationship continues but transforms. Not forged in crisis anymore. Just 2 damaged people choosing each other daily. Learning what normal looks like. It's harder than fighting. Requires different courage. But we're trying. He accelerates the transition out of criminal operations. Sells remaining territories to trusted associates. Keeps only legitimate businesses. Import company specializing in sustainable goods. Construction firm building affordable housing. It takes months, but slowly, Gabriel Montero, the crime lord, becomes Gabriel Montero, the businessman. The transformation isn't perfect, never will be, but it's real, and it's enough. July brings unexpected challenge. Jessica Ryan, a journalist I used to work with, publishes an opinion piece questioning my integrity. Dating a known criminal. How can I maintain journalistic ethics? The criticism stings. But I respond with my own editorial. I don't cover Gabriel's operations. Never have. Never will. Maintain complete professional separation. My investigation into Volkov stands on its merits. The documentation is irrefutable. My personal life doesn't negate that truth. Most of the journalism community supports me. Some don't. I accept that. Can't control how others perceive choices I've made. August arrives with recognition I never expected. The National Investigative Journalism Award for the Volkov Exposé. The ceremony is formal, overwhelming. Gabriel attends, but stays toward the back, supporting without overshadowing. When I accept the award, I dedicate it to 3 people: Tom Harper, Emma Montero, Nathaniel Cross. They paid the ultimate price exposing evil most people never see. This recognition belongs to them. The applause feels both deserved and hollow. Awards don't bring them back, don't erase the cost, but maybe they mean something. Maybe they prove their deaths mattered. October 20th. 1 year since Tom died. Gabriel drives me to the cemetery first. I stand at Tom's grave for an hour. Tell him about everything. About Volkov's arrest. About finding love in the aftermath of losing him. About learning to live with grief instead of being consumed by it. I think he'd be proud. Hope he would be. Then Gabriel drives us to the Columbia River Gorge. To the cliff where we met. Where I almost ended everything. We arrive at dawn. Same time as a year ago. But everything's different now. Gabriel takes my hand as we stand at the edge. Not dangerously close. Just close enough to remember. 1 year ago, I stopped here planning to watch the sunrise, he says. Found you instead. Changed everything. You saved my life. You saved mine too. He turns to face me. I was drowning in revenge. In Emma's death, you gave me a reason to want more. To build something instead of just destroying. He drops to one knee. My breath catches. Lily Harper. You're the bravest person I've ever known. You looked at the worst parts of me and chose to stay anyway. You fight for truth even when it costs everything. You make me want to be better than I am. He pulls out a ring. Simple. Beautiful. Emerald surrounded by small diamonds. Will you marry me? Tears stream down my face. Yes. Yes. Absolutely yes. He slides the ring on my finger. Stands. Kisses me as the sun breaks over the horizon. Exactly where we started. But this time, we're not broken people seeking death or revenge. We're survivors building something new from ashes and grief and hard-won hope. 8 months pass. June brings our wedding. Small ceremony. 50 people. My journalist friends. Gabriel's legitimate business associates. Rosa, Clara, and her daughters. We marry in a vineyard in Willamette Valley. Intimate and meaningful. I wear Tom's photo in a silver locket. Nathaniel's badge sewn inside my bouquet at Clara's insistence. The people we lost present in small ways. Gabriel cries during his vows. So do I. Promising to choose each other. To build life from what remains. To honor the dead by living fully. Clara reads a poem Nathaniel wrote years ago about loyalty and love. There isn't a dry eye. The reception is simple. Joy mixed with remembrance. Celebration shadowed by absence. But it's real. It's ours. 2 years later. March. I'm 5 months pregnant. Girl. We named her Emma Grace. Emma for Gabriel's sister. Grace for second chances. For the mercy of survival. We live in a house that's compromised between his world and mine. Lake Oswego. Family neighborhood. Garden. Normal. Gabriel left his criminal empire completely behind. Runs legitimate businesses. Volunteers with trafficking victim advocacy groups. Trying to prevent what happened to Emma and the people Volkov destroyed. I work part-time as investigative editor for Northwest Journal. Writing a memoir about grief and healing. About choosing life when death seems easier. Tonight, we sit together in our living room. Gabriel's hand on my stomach where Emma kicks. Strong already. Fighter like her namesakes. She's active tonight, I say. Like her mother. Gabriel smiles. Genuine and unguarded in ways he never was when we met. We'll tell her about them, right? Tom, Emma, Nathaniel, when she's old enough. Every day. Gabriel promises. She'll grow up knowing good people fought so she could be born into a safer world. And we'll teach her to choose life, even when everything feels impossible. Especially then. He kisses my forehead. We sit in comfortable silence, Emma kicking between us. Outside, normal neighborhood sounds. Kids playing, dogs barking, life continuing. I think about that cliff, about standing at the edge, weighing whether existence was worth the pain, about Gabriel appearing like an answer to a question I couldn't articulate, about everything we survived to reach this moment. Tom isn't here to meet his niece. Emma won't hold her namesake. Nathaniel won't teach our daughter strength the way he taught so many others. The losses are permanent. The grief doesn't disappear, but we carry it differently now. Not crushing weight, but memorial. Reminder, we survived not just to exist, but to live fully, to honor them through choosing love over hate, life over death, hope over despair. Gabriel falls asleep beside me, hands still on my belly. I stay awake longer, watching him breathe, feeling Emma move, grateful beyond words for this improbable family built from tragedy and trauma and fierce determination. 3 years ago, I wanted to die. Tonight, I've never been more certain I want to live, because that's how we honor the people we've lost, by refusing to waste the life they fought to protect, by building futures they never got, by choosing joy even when pain demands surrender. Emma kicks again, strong, insistent, ready for the world. I close my eyes, finally at peace. Tomorrow we begin again, together, and that's everything.